And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. You know what? I'm sorry we got a late start. We had some technical problems here today. We do have those resolved, by the way, and I don't know what I did or what I didn't do, but we got them fixed for you. Now, I want you to know that on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and we're going to do our news segment, the tribute to the late great Paul Harvey, and the rest of the story. And then also today, my good buddy Sean LaFave is going to be here. He and I will be talking about health care and the Geared for Wellness Corner. And then right after that, probably during the whole time, my grandson is here, Joey, and Joey and I will be talking about a varied amount of different things going on. But since we're running about 16 minutes late on our schedule, I will be kind of manipulating the schedule around a little bit to see what we can do to make it go. Anyway, let's talk about the weather today at 3:16 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 90 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, that's on its way down to 62 degrees, and it's just going to be an absolutely magnificent day today. So, we're looking forward to that whole thing. Now, you know what? I want to talk to you about the news. I want to talk to you about the 10 things that you need to know for today. That's Thursday. Your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about all day today and tomorrow. First off, British politicians make frenzied final appeals before high-stakes referendum on the European Union membership. A vote to leave would trigger a period of uncertainty during years of negotiations on the relationship between the European Union and the United Kingdom. Then, rebellious Democrats disrupt the House, stage a sit-in to demand a vote on gun control measures. House Speaker Paul Ryan dismissed the protest as a publicity stunt and said there would be no vote on the gun bills. Then, Trump attacks Clinton with a grab bag of favorite Republican criticisms and inaccuracies. The presumptive Republican nominee slammed his rival as a world-class liar, while Clinton called his charges outlandish lies. Then, North Korea trumpets the success of powerful mid-range ballistic missile test. The North says the launch demonstrated an ability to strike U.S. forces throughout the region. And up next, Islamic State demonstrates a stubborn resilience in face of recent losses. The militants dealt with embarrassing setback to the Syrian army near Raqqa with a swift counteroffensive. And Uber, Lyft battle proposals for fingerprint checks on drivers. A number of state and local officials have proposed the checks following incidents where Uber drivers were found to have criminal records. Former UN General Assembly Chief John Ash dies at 61 amid bribery case. The Antiguan diplomat who died at his home in New York State and been accused of U.S. federal authorities by accepting more than $1 million in bribes. Well, where a plane is heading after rescuing 2 sick workers from Antarctica. The small plane is flying to Chile, where the 2 U.S. workers are expected to receive medical care. How Dennis Hastert begins his 15-month prison term in hush money case related to sex abuse. Well, the former U.S. House Speaker wheeled himself into a federal prison in Minnesota, followed by a woman carrying crutches, a plastic bag, and a small brown box. And then finally, what Ben Simmons said on the eve of the NBA draft. Arriving in New York, hoping to be the number 1 pick, Simmons said, "I think I'm ready." Absolutely. That's exactly what you'd expect. Now, let's talk about some more in-depth news. That's where we really want to be going this time. And you know what? Let's get right to it. First off, a powerful tornado strikes East China, 78 reportedly dead. This came in just 2 hours ago. A tornado and hailstorm struck the outskirts of an eastern Chinese city on Thursday, which is today, killing at least 78 people and destroying buildings, smashing trees and flipping vehicles on their roofs. The tornado hit a densely populated area of farms and factories near the city of Yangqing in Jiangsu province, about 800 kilometers. That's about 500 miles south of Beijing. Nearly 500 people were injured, 200 of them critically. The official Jiangsu news agency reported roads were blocked with trees down, power lines, and other debris. Heavy rain and the possibility of further hailstorms and more tornadoes complicated rescue efforts, the state broadcaster CCTV reported. Well, a lot of things in the news, a lot of things going on. Let's talk about this. This is really important. After the Capitol all-nighter, Democrats push for gun control. Exhausted but exuberant House Democrats vowed to fight on for gun control Thursday as they ended their high-drama House floor sit-in with songs, prayers, and defiant predictions of success. Republicans offered a dose of a political reality, denying House Democrat demands and holding a Senate vote designed to show a bipartisan gun compromise can't actually pass. They're staging protests. They're trying to get on TV. They're sending out fundraising solicitations. House Speaker Paul Ryan complained in an angry denunciation of the Democrats' 25-hour occupation of the Capitol chamber. If this is not a political stunt, then why are they trying to raise money off of a tragedy? Absolutely. You know what? That's exactly what's going on here. Now, how about this? No to Obama's immigration plan, the Supreme Court says. A short-handed and deeply divided Supreme Court deadlocked today on President Barack Obama's immigration plan to help millions living in the U.S. illegally, effectively killing the plan for the rest of his presidency and raising the stakes even further for the November elections. The hotly debated direction of America's national immigration policy, as well as the balance of power on the high court, now will be determined in a large part by the presidential and congressional elections, immigration, and the court vacancy created by Justice Antonin Scalia's death in February. Already, we're featuring prominently in the campaign. So a lot of things going on there. Let's give you one more before we take a short break. In the World Trade Center skyscrapers, 3 up and 1 to go. The World Trade Center's newest $2.5 billion skyscraper reached its full 80 stories today. One of 3 high-rises now up at the site with 1 more to go. Almost 15 years after the Twin Towers collapsed, the site of the September 11th terror attacks has turned into a resplendent hub of soaring architecture, bustling businesses, and urban greenery. But a series of construction security fences signal that there's still plenty of unfinished work before the 16-acre site is totally back to life. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about more news, and we're going to alter our schedule a little bit today to accommodate the late start, but we'll get you the whole show. Don't worry about that. So don't go away. We got a lot of great show for you. When we come back, we're going to continue the news, and I'm going to talk about the latest. Lawmakers urge the UK and the Prime Minister Cameron to stay in office, and I'll tell you all about that right after these words.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now from Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. And right now, let's talk about the latest news that we have out there. And that is the lawmakers urge the United Kingdom Prime Minister Cameron to stay in office. The latest on Britain's referendum on whether to leave the European Union. Dozens of conservative lawmakers who called for Britain to leave the European Union have signed a letter saying Prime Minister David Cameron should stay in office, whichever side wins the membership referendum. The letter signed by 84 legislators says whatever the British people decide, you have both a mandate and a duty to continue leading the nation implementing our policies. That leaves more than 60 Brexit-supporting Tory lawmakers who did not sign. The referendum on the European Union has deeply split Cameron's Conservative Party. Cameron led the Remain campaign, but senior figures including Justice Secretary Michael Gove and former London Mayor Boris Johnson's backed a Leave vote. Many observers feel Cameron will have to reign if Britain's vote to leave the 28-nation bloc. And reports that the Remain side could be headed to victory in Britain's referendum on European Union membership have sent the British pound surging more than 1% to $1.50. Polling station workers in Britain were seen rushing ballot boxes to be counted after the polls closed at 10 p.m. Thursday, which it already is there if you think about it. It's earlier here in California, but it's certainly later there. Results are expected early tomorrow morning, so we'll see what actually happens with that. British Electoral Commission Chair Jenny Watson says the first stages of the vote counting process are now underway in Britain's referendum on membership in the European Union. Polling station workers were seen rushing ballot boxes to be counted. Well, we'll see what happens. It's going to be quite the battle when you start thinking about it. There's no question about that. You know, let's talk about Iraqi forces. And Iraqi forces focus on militants in North and West Fallujah. Iraqi commanders are preparing to dislodge Islamic State group fighters from pockets of territory in Fallujah's northern and western neighborhoods, where the militants have dug in after largely fleeing their positions in the city center last week. Boy, I'll tell you, you know what, this is just not the world I was born in. I like the one I was born in a whole lot better than this one. There's no question about that. And after the officer acquittal, residents negotiate hope for change. You know, it was supposed to be an open and shut case. The 25-year-old black man was healthy before his arrest and arrived at the nearby station dying from a broken neck. But a judge ruled today that prosecutors failed to prove any crime was committed by Officer Cesar Goodson, who drove the van where Freddie Gray suffered his fatal injury during a 6-stop, 45-minute odyssey after he tried to outrun a police patrol. After 3 trials and no convictions, it's increasingly clear that the evidence against 6 Baltimore police officers charged in Gray's death is too weak to sustain the hopes of citizens desperate for reform. Now, do not go away, because when we get back, we're going to be talking to our own Sean Lefebvre in the Geared for Wellness Corner. So don't go away. We'll be right back with Sean after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Dental Family Dentistry and a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean Lefebvre, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
And I'm Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time, currently 90 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 62 degrees, but if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, 78 degrees and overcast. And in Chicago, Illinois, 77 degrees and it's clear. But waiting in the wings is somebody who never heats up. He's just got himself all geared up for us every week. For the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's had one subject he wanted to talk about, and we've never gotten to it. So help me welcome our own Sean LaFave. Hey, Sean, how you doing, buddy?
Good, Robert. How are you, sir? What's going on?
Well, you know what? We had some technical problems getting started, so we got about a 16-minute late start, but now we've caught up to you and your segment. Well, we'll be running an extra 15 or 16 minutes after the show would normally be done today at 5 o'clock. So it's kind of a test on my math, I guess. So how are you doing? Listen, you got to be getting a little tired. You're driving yourself to absolute exhaustion, and I mean that literally. You're driving all over the country. You're giving seminars. You're getting hot dates. You're having wonderful gourmet meals, and then you're just crashing totally inebriated on a lonely bed in a Holiday Inn somewhere.
Yeah, I tell you what, I haven't had to drive other than to the grocery store and maybe a couple of other errands this week. I haven't done a lot of driving, which is good. But I tell you, of course, when we ended the show Tuesday, we touched briefly on what's going on with my mom, and so I've discovered when your parents, or at least your mom anyway, in my case, has heart surgery. She got a heart valve replacement done, and you go to take care of your mom when she gets home from rehab, and we're going to talk a little bit about that too. Is what happens is you basically reverse roles from when you were like 3 years old.
Yeah.
So now I'm doing all of the cooking and washing the dishes and the laundry and I dropped that. Can you pick it up off the floor for me? Those kind of things. So,
and you're happy to do it.
Yeah, and I'm happy to do it. I'm glad that I was able to get out here and do it. But it's been definitely tough on her, and I'll tell you, she's asleep right now. And which is a wonderful thing. And she is right now getting the best sleep that I have seen her get, probably the longest nonstop sleep that I've seen her get since I got here.
Well, that's absolutely wonderful. From your lips to God's ears, I think, that's going to be a sign of recovery. She needs that. She's got to be exhausted from everything she's gone through. And now that her body, I don't know how many times, Sean, I've heard you say sleep is the body's way of recharging its batteries and re-strengthening itself. So this is a good sign, right?
Oh, it's absolutely a wonderful sign. And the funny part, and I say funny, not ha-ha funny, but funny as in just, what a crazy world we live in. Uh-huh. The reason why she's getting so much great sleep right now is she just got this new lift chair. It's made by, I think, the Golden Company, I think is who makes it, Golden lift chairs. Mm-hmm. She got a new lift chair, and so of course it lifts up, and she can kind of squat down, sit onto it, and then it lowers itself back down, and the feet lay up, and the back reclines. I mean, literally, they call it zero gravity. It reclines almost completely flat, and so, a lot of people use them to sleep in because it's really hard, getting in and out of bed. And the thing with having heart surgery, they say open heart surgery. What it really is it's actually more like your chest cavity's open. And that's been ripped open.
Well, but you said there was a valve replacement. I mean, they got to open the heart to do that.
Yeah, that's true. They do have to open the heart to do that. But what they do is, they rip the breastplate in half, and then they take your chest and they really pry it open. Mm-hmm. And so all those ribs are being stretched out like a bow, and all the joints in your back along the spine are being, moved into a position they weren't really designed to go into, and all the ligaments and tendons and all the muscles and everything are being stretched in a way they weren't meant to be stretched. And so really where she's experiencing the most pain is not in her chest where she got cut open, where the bone is healing and it's wired back together, but it's actually in her back, where all those, all that stress was put on.
Oh, sure.
All her chest was. So she got this new chair, which of course, she's under Medicare, which, we're going to talk about this today. You pay into this your whole life, and when time comes around, our government's supposed to take care of us. And,
that sounds an awful lot like socialism.
Yeah. It'd be great if it worked. But, they gave her this really crappy hospital bed that, literally has a mattress that looks like it's about 3 inches thick, and it's got that, those kind of crisscross springs, it's, like a metal frame that it sets on, and so the mattress slides around, and it's real awkward for her to get in and out of it.
Now, your mom's in Ohio, right?
She's in Ohio, right near Dayton, Ohio.
I got to tell you, because I certainly, my compassion goes out to your mom, but I've got to tell you, it must be different in different places, because, very honestly, my age, and I'm 71 years old. I'm on Medicare, and I've been taken care of a number of times in the hospital on Medicare. And where I go, and it's a Kaiser facility, I get a private room. I get the best of service. The beds are comfortable, if you can be comfortable. So I think it really depends where you're at.
Kaiser in California is a lot different. And I don't know if there's a specific, insurance company that runs the Medicare program out here, but the bed that I was just specifically talking about was one that they brought to her house, because they kicked her literally. They kicked her out of the rehab center, and so she's doing rehab at home, and so this bed is horrible, and so she had to go spend her own money to go buy this really nice chair that she could get in and out of, and be able to recline and actually sleep. And I mean, she has been sleeping for, I want to say it's been 2 hours now.
Well, thank goodness she was able to do that. And what an awful shame that she had to go through this. I mean, I'm not talking about the fact that she had to have the heart valve replaced, because certainly that's also a shame. But the fact that she would be treated this way, with a total disregard for the comfort of somebody who obviously is a little bit older to be on Medicare, that's wrong. That's just wrong.
Yeah, she's 74 years old. And, of course she went to the hospitals. It was just over 2 weeks ago.
Before I forget, Sean, I'm sorry. I wanted to let you know that, my grandson Joey is listening in, and I told him today if he had if he has any questions, I told him to feel free to ask you. But just so that you'll know, I didn't want you to be blindsided by it.
Well, when we start the next segment, we'll get it started with. I have a question to ask Joey.
Oh, okay.
So, hey, Joey. By the way, welcome, man. I'm glad you're here today. It's awesome.
Hi, it's nice to see you too, Mr. LaFave.
All right.
Can you actually see him? Because I just envision him.
It's nice to hear you.
Oh, okay.
I can. I just picture someone who looks like you but smaller. That's it.
Here's the deal. Sean has a face. He has a face built for radio.
I had a what? Say that again?
You have a face just made for radio.
My face is made for radio. That's the truth.
Anyway, go ahead, my friend. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
So, that's fine. So it was about, I don't know, it was maybe 3 weeks ago, I guess it was now. She, went to the hospital. She couldn't breathe, or she could breathe, but it was very labored, and she was extremely short of breath. And, her lungs, they found her lungs were filled with, at first they said that they didn't think it was her heart, which my first thought was heart problem. And then they said, well, they didn't think it was her heart. And I said, okay, well, what could it possibly be? And they said her lungs were filled with fluid. And I'm like, okay, that's only 2 things that I can think of offhand. And that's either your heart, because it's dumping water to be able to pump the blood that it needs to pump, or you've got pneumonia. And I don't think she had pneumonia. You just don't get pneumonia onset that quick.
Right.
And it turns out, she of course had a bad heart. They had to do a valve replacement. She got the surgery done. That was, 2 weeks ago yesterday, was the surgery. And so she spent 5 days in the hospital, and on Monday after the surgery, they told her, they said, hey, we're gonna, even before the surgery, they told her this, because you live alone, you need to be in a rehab facility, where we have constant care over you, and we can take care of you, and on and on. And so that's just the way it goes. You can't go home. She was told you can't go home, right?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Which makes sense to me. That's fine. And I told her, she was a little freaked out about it. So in the beginning, thank God they didn't tell her how the procedure was going to go. She had no idea, how brutal that surgery really is, that they literally take your chest and pry it apart.
Sure.
She said, honestly, if I had known that, I don't know that I would have gone through the procedure. I go, well, you just end up dying. And she goes, well, depending on how long I had left to live. I go, it didn't matter how long you had left. I go, you were dying right there. I said, you would have had no life left because you couldn't walk. You couldn't do anything. You would be living with your lungs filled with fluid. And, so she needed to get the surgery. So she gets it and they tell her, of course, hey, smartly so, you need to be in a rehab facility. She gets there on a Monday. On Friday, her caseworker, which anytime I hear the word caseworker, that's pretty much to me, I get about as beautiful of a picture as I do if I hear Ku Klux Klan. It's like I just don't ever conjure up. I just never conjure up a positive image of a person and I'm sure there are caseworkers out there who are wonderful people trying to do a good job.
Sure.
But the fact is, they represent someone else who wants to save money.
Yep.
And so this caseworker says, well, you seem like you can walk fine on your own, so you look like you're healthy enough. We're going to send you home and we're not going to pay for your insurance or the Medicare insurance is going to pay for your hospital stay past Sunday. So she was told minimum 2 weeks, probably closer to 3 weeks, she would need to be in rehab in the center, and now the Medicare is saying, yeah, we don't really want to pay for that because you can walk. Well, of course she can walk because they didn't do anything to her legs. She didn't get a bypass surgery done. She had a heart valve replacement. And so they told her, look, you got 48 hours to go home. That's it. And we're not paying anymore. And so they kick her out. Forget the fact that she can't sit up on her own.
Well, let me interrupt you for a second. There's something really bothering me here. And what's really bothering me is what in the hell is Medicare dictating what the doctor's instructions should be? Why isn't the doctor controlling this?
And, that's the way it should be. And unfortunately, that's not the way insurance, of all type, private or public or, whatever, you call it, government insurance, they dictate whatever they want to. And once they've made their decision, you can protest it, but the chances are unlikely you're going to get the answer that you want, at least within the time period that you need. And that's a common thing. It happens.
Well, what would have happened if you didn't have the wherewithal to actually be there, and help your mother? I mean, my goodness, what the hell's this society getting to be?
I honestly don't know. And I really wish that I could stay here longer, but I think me being here, these 5 days was enough to kind of, get her situated. I mean, she literally got home on Monday. No one came to the house on Monday. No one came to the house on Tuesday. Finally, a nurse came in on Wednesday just to check, see how she was doing, not help with anything, just to ask questions. And then another one came in, the occupational therapist came in today. So it's Thursday now, and she still hasn't even seen a physical therapist yet here in the house. She's supposed to have physical therapy 3 times a week.
I mean, how ridiculous is that? I mean, I got to tell you, you know what? You're either the most patient man I ever met in my life. Or you're just not telling me the reality of what you did when all this was going on. Because I want to tell you, I'd be raising 10 different kinds of hell. They'd hear me from coast to coast.
Oh, I don't even know where to start because, who do you call? The problem is she's been on the phone and trying to get answers and she's been getting a runaround and the people who have been here were pretty nice people and they're not the ones making the decisions. And the whole thing, I just told her, I said, Mom, you've got to, unfortunately, in a situation like this, you're going to have to do what you need to do to take care of yourself. You just can't depend on these people. You can get mad all you want, but, or I could get mad and I could huff and puff, but what it boils down to is if you don't take care of yourself, nobody else is going to. And I feel comfortable with, I've met enough of the people who live, she's in a community here with a 55 and older living facility, all the entryways are in the hallway. And so they all talk to each other and she knows a lot of the ladies that live here. And, there's a couple of guys that live here too, but it's mostly women. And I feel comfortable knowing that when I leave, there will be people here to help her with things like taking out the trash. And she literally is not allowed to even take out the trash. She's not allowed to pick up anything more than 10 pounds.
Well, I would hope not, for God's sakes.
Yeah, and that's fine, and I literally have spent, ever since I've been here, mainly what I've been doing is, was cooking and, doing the dishes and going grocery shopping. And I cooked up a bunch of stuff that, we put in Ziploc baggies and, in freezer baggies, and we put them in the freezer. So when she wants to eat, all she has to do is take stuff out, thaw it out, heat it up, and boom, she's got an instant meal. And, I've been making some food for her while I was here. And of course, I've done some laundry for her and a few other things, and, taking out the trash or whatever the case, doing the dishes, straightening up here and there, and kind of going through some boxes of her stuff. But the whole situation just, it's appalling.
Yeah.
But the problem is I've become so just disgruntled with the medical community in general that this doesn't even shock me. I was honestly surprised that they sent her home when they did. Well, and I was glad that I was able to be here the same day that she was sent home.
Sean, I just have to tell you, both of us are incensed about the way the United States government is treating its veterans. Now, the veterans went out and they made major sacrifices, ultimate sacrifices for us, and we should at least take care of them. But in this particular case, and you said it at the very beginning, this is something that she paid for. She paid all her life for this, and the government is ignoring that and dictating what is going to be best for her health in opposition to what her own physician is ordering?
Yeah, exactly. The government that she paid into is saying, you know what, we're not going to pay for your care now. It's like she's 74 years old. That's what's the point of having Medicare? And I even asked the question. I said, my niece Jessica lives just about 5 or 10 minutes away, and so I asked the first nurse that came out. I said, "Will the Medicare system pay for her granddaughter to come out and help her, 2-3 times a week?" And she said, "No, Medicare won't. If she had Medicaid, they would pay for it, but Medicare won't." And I thought, well, why is it someone who's if you're broke and you're just sucking off the system with with Medicaid, then they'll pay for you to have a family member come in and help you. But, you lived your whole life paying into a system, and Medicare says, no, we're not going to do it.
And you know what? And it's even worse than that, because who do you think has more money in the bucket, the feds or the state? Because Medicare is a federal program, and Medicaid is a state program. And if the state would take better care of her than the feds, is there something wrong with the way they treat their citizens?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The state is, and that just boils it down to, the smaller the organization, the better the care you're going to get. Federal government's going to suck. State is probably going to do better. Private industry is going to do even better. She wanted to get somewhere where she could actually sleep. She had to go reach into her own pocketbook and buy herself, a nice chair that's comfortable and she can get in and out of without causing herself more chest pain.
Well, I got to tell you, you have really hit my hot button today. If you were here in the studio with me, Joey will tell you there is smoke coming out of my ears. I
believe it.
I am so incensed at what I'm hearing is driving me crazy. Matter of fact, I can tell you, very similar to this, my own daughter, you know that we talked about the issues that were going on. You know what? Mm-hmm. Before they would do anything, she's got insurance because you know why? Because Obamacare mandates it. Now, she's a successful attorney. She has her own practice. All those things are going on. She has Kaiser Permanente under Obamacare, and she had to pay $3,800 up front prior to her emergency surgery. Or they weren't going to do it.
Isn't that crazy?
You know what? And I'm drawing an analogy, and I guess it's pretty kind of a poor analogy, but the truth is, the analogy is our country's is sitting on, our country's got his head stuck in the sand. I got to watch out what I say. I am so mad, Sean. Jesus.
Yep. Yeah. Me too. And it's the unfortunate part is, who do you lash out? You can lash out at someone on the other end of the phone, but it's, the person who's responsible for all this is never going to pick up the phone.
But I'll tell you what, I'll tell you how you get even. And the problem is not enough people do it. Our entire country, the citizenry that has the right and the privilege to vote are not taking it to the ballot box because that's where you can fix it. Just get rid of all these guys.
I agree. Yep. Voting is a privilege. It's a right and it is a responsibility, and it's something that does as much as it doesn't feel like it, because all you're doing is you're checking a box, or punching a button or whatever. It gives us that power to.
Well,
in and out.
I'm sitting here and I'm looking at my grandson Joe. He's 13 years old and he is just shaking his head. He can't believe his ears about what you're describing, the way our country is treating its elderly.
Yeah, someone who was born and raised, her dad is a retired Air Force. I don't know what his rank was, something sergeant.
Yeah.
I think he was a staff sergeant or tech sergeant. But it's just crazy to think that this is the way that our system treats people, and you just see it time and time again. And you think about what's it going to be like if Bernie Sanders got his way, or if Obamacare became the rule and not the exception. If everybody had Obamacare, then what would be happening? I just can't imagine that it would be better. There's no way. Look, the average, I looked up that. I was curious what the numbers were. The average heart valve surgery in the United States costs anywhere between $80,000 to $200,000.
Yeah.
And so that's just one surgery. I understand, like, you guys want to save a few bucks, but to say, okay, you can't stay in a rehab center for another week. What is that going to cost? Maybe,
what, 10 grand? Yeah. When you're talking about 200,000, another 5%? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. It's a small percentage, and they're not going to save all. It's not like they don't have to pay. They still got to pay for nurses to come out here. Yeah. They got to have a regular nurse or a registered nurse. I say regular nurse, but I mean not a physical therapist or something like that. But they've got to send out a registered nurse, and they've got to send out an occupational therapist, and they've got to send out a physical therapist, and they're paying for this crappy bed that she's got in her living room, which she's going to send back. I guarantee you, as soon as she wakes up, she's going to be like, I will never touch that bed again, because I was watching her sleep, and all I could think was, this is the best sleep I've seen her get.
Yeah.
Since I got here.
Well, thank God, because that's what she needs to heal. How the heck did they put her on a bed that even an animal couldn't get a decent, nice rest, much less a human being, and that's just ridiculous. Hey, listen, we're going to have to go on a break. You want to give us a teaser for what you're going to talk about when we come back?
Well, I want to talk to Joey, and I want to so Joey, I'll let you think about this. What I want to know is, when your grandfather Robert and I, when we were kids, we played outside all the time. We were out running around. Matter of fact, our parents kicked us out of the house and don't come home until it's dark. And so that was just part of how we grew up, was running around, playing, being physically active. But your generation doesn't seem to be like that. And I want to talk to you about that and see what your take is on it. Do you want to play outside, or is it just that it's not easy to do because of the way our neighborhoods are set up, or is it just that video games are that much more cool? So I want to talk about that when we get back, because I'm really curious to get a 13-year-old's response on this.
Okay, we'll be right back. We're talking to our own Sean Lefebvre in the Geared for Wellness Corner. When we come back, we'll be talking to Sean. Matter of fact, he'll be having a conversation with my genius grandson, Joey. So don't go away. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back, folks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now from Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Still 90 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's on its way down to 62 degrees. And if you're in our, God bless you, I'm sorry you're coughing. Anyway, if you're in one of our syndicated global network places in Paris, France, it's 72 degrees and clear. And in Rome, Italy, 73 degrees and clear. And if you happen to be in Ohio, it's that lousy air has got you coughing. You can't take a deep breath. That's what's going on in the background here, you know. So between Sean coughing and my grandson coughing and me trying to keep my track of where my my place is, you know, we don't have a chance here today. Anyway, hey Sean, you have the microphone.
You know, I actually wasn't coughing. That noise you heard. It's funny how you hear noises and they sound like something else to you. That was actually so of course the phone rang while we were on our first segment, and so now Mom's awake, and so she had to grab something out. We're getting ready to go to dinner with my niece right after the show's over, and so she got woken up by the phone. So she came in to grab a nice shirt, a nice flower, and that actually sound that you heard that sounded like me coughing was her closing the door.
Well, that's okay. You know what? What I really love the idea is that I can tease you while that's going on. That works for me. Anyway, you got the microphone, my friend.
All right. So Joey, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right. So you had a couple minutes to think about it. So tell me, you know, like I said, you know, when I was a kid, when your grandpa was a kid, you know, when we wanted to have fun, we didn't have, you know, there was no iPads, we didn't have cell phones, you know, smartphones, whatever. We didn't have all these electronic things. I mean, there was just nothing like that existed. And so we spent most of our time outside. And I know that our generation, we complain that kids don't spend enough time outside. So if someone was to say that to you, you know, hey, you kids really need to get outside. You need to play more. You need to get off the video games, get off your phones, get off your iPads, and go play. So how would you respond to that? Is it that do you wish there was a way that would be easier to play outside? Is getting outside not as easy because of the way, you know, the neighborhoods are designed, or what is your response? Is it just you don't want to, or how would you answer that?
I would say that it's a lot of different, there are a lot of different contributing factors to this problem. The main factor though is it's a different world. There are the 24-hour media coverage, which I guess strikes fear into the hearts of parents when it comes to kidnapping and terror and all that type of stuff. So I think a lot of parents are afraid to let their kids just wander, like, let's say, go to the park. I think that there is a lot of interference on the part of parents between kids and their relationships with other kids. For instance, we have to have play dates. You know, they have to be scheduled a couple of weeks in advance, and you have to meet at someone's house and all that kind of stuff. You can't just ring the doorbell.
You know, it's funny that you say that. I used to, actually at one point, my son, when he was about your age, actually, 13, 14, something like that, he got mad at me because I was kind of sort of making fun of one of his friends, really not his friends, but were his friend's parents. And we would call up and say, hey, can, gosh, I can't think of the kid's name right now, but John, that's what it was. Can John come over and play? Well, they would say, yeah, we can drop him off at 4:15, but then we would need to pick him up at 7:30 or something. It's very specific. It wasn't like, yeah, we'll be there around 4 or so, and then pick him up later that evening, which is how it would be when we were kids. And there was no real. But now you're right. Like, everything has to be scheduled, and I found the same thing with my son. Was finding when his friends could get together with him, scheduling with their parents, and you're right. And I think that when someone of my generation or your grandpa's generation says you kids need to get outside, to me, I don't think it's a straightforward answer. When I was a kid, we would run outside and we knew where our friends were going to be, or we would just go run to their house and knock on the door, and they'd be, yep, I got nothing going on, let's go play. And so I totally get what you're saying with the whole, everything needs to be scheduled, and I wish that there was a way that we could move away from that, because I think that it makes life a lot less fun. It makes it more rigid, and you have a lot less creativity you use in your playtime because of that. So yeah, that's a great point. I love that. So go ahead, keep going though.
I'd say that it doesn't completely take out the whole idea of playing outside. Like, there are a couple groups of kids in my neighborhood who are outside 24/7, and I'm outside a lot in a little place, playing around on my bike and that type of thing. I'm not doing it 24/7, but I think that...
But your parents know where you're at.
Yeah, they do. I always have my phone on me, and I tell them where I'm going.
And I'm assuming at 13 you have a cell phone, probably a smartphone or iPhone or whatever it is that if your parents need you, they can call or text, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And now, so when you do go outside and you're playing with your buddies, we used to play, boy, talk about politically incorrect. We used to play Cowboys and Indians, and we used to play Army, yeah, which probably isn't even allowed anymore either. And we would build forts, and we would just we would find all kinds. We would go play, football out in the middle of a dirt field or something like that. Just being goofy. But so, what do you guys do when you're outside playing? What kind of fun do you guys have?
When I was little, I used to play a version of Army, but it was more like medieval warfare type thing, like pirates, that type of thing. But I had to do it in secret, because it wasn't allowed by most parents, and it wasn't allowed in the school. So there was a lot of times the proctor was all like, you can't make finger guns, or that type of thing.
But you can't make what?
You can't make the finger guns. You can't even do the motion with your thumb and your pointer finger.
Oh, a finger gun. Yeah, I've heard about that. Kids getting kicked out of school for literally chewing a piece of bread into the shape of a gun or something stupid like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they're talking about your hand. When you take your 3 digits, the lower digits of your hand, that leaves your index finger and your thumb there. The thumb is the hammer of the gun, and the index finger is the barrel.
Exactly.
They're not allowing that in school. You get thrown out for the day if you do that.
Yeah, we could bring, when we were kids, we could bring, granted, you got to be careful when you use it, but we could bring, plastic squirt guns to school.
Oh, squirt guns and cap guns?
Yeah, cap guns, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah. And now you can't even point your finger in a gun motion. So.
Tag isn't even allowed.
What's that?
Tag isn't even allowed in most schools anymore.
Wow. Man.
Yeah.
What is allowed? Do you guys play dodge? Do you guys even play dodgeball anymore?
No, we're not allowed to play dodgeball. They have to use a workaround.
I told you, Sean. I told you, Sean. You and I were raised in a much better world.
We were raised in a much better world, and I just don't get it. So what kind of games are you allowed to play at school? I mean, basketball? I don't even know what's left.
They have basketball, they have soccer, they have all those types of things. PE, they like to make really creative games, and oftentimes they are fun. But when you're out at home and you're trying to figure out what to play, oftentimes a lot of the kids in my neighborhood love airsoft, which is like BB guns.
Oh yeah, sure.
So they go and they shoot pellet guns, and they have the mask on and the armor and all that type of stuff. And they wear the vest, and
but not pellet guns. You're talking about.
Well, you don't play airsoft, and I've played airsoft too before. You don't play it in your neighborhood, do you? You actually have to go to an airsoft arena, right?
Yeah. No, we don't play it in our neighborhood because you'd break something.
Yeah. I used to let my son and his friends play airsoft in our backyard when I was living in Wichita, Kansas, and it finally got to the point that the neighbor behind us would come over just furious because he'd have all these little white, those plastic BB balls, whatever they are, all over his backyard, and I mean, he was livid, like the world was coming to an end, and so we had to finally put the kibosh on doing airsoft in the backyard just because of that. But he was not the nicest guy in the world.
Well, you know what, Sean? When I was 8 years old, I'd gone through an NRA class, and my uncle lived out in the country. He had 880 acres out in a place called Hidden Valley, just beyond Escondido. And I'd go there and visit with my cousin, who was a couple of years older than me, and he could drive. We had his old Army Jeep, and we'd drive out into the field in the mountains in the back there. Yeah. I'd have a 22 one day, or a shotgun one day. The 22, we'd actually hunt for squirrels and rabbits, and with a shotgun, we'd shoot doves. And I was 8 years old. Nobody thought anything of it. You try that today.
My first deer that I ever killed hunting, I was 12 years old. And I literally walked out the front door of our home. We lived out in the country. Walked out the front door of our house, walked down a dirt road until I saw a deer and shot it in the head, dragged it into the bushes, went home, got my dad. I had blood all over my hands, and it was literally like 6:30 in the morning. As soon as the sun came up, boom, I was gone. And, he wasn't excited to get woken up that early, but I think he was excited about the fact that I actually put food on the table. But, but that was part of my childhood too, was I would literally go take you talk about a 22 rifle. It's the only gun that it was the first gun that was ever given to me, as my own gun to own. I was, in 6th grade. And so I think it was my 12th birthday. And so I got this 22 rifle as a birthday gift, and I still have that gun today. Yeah, it's the only gun that I've actually consistently, from the time I got it, have kept for years and years like that. I do own a couple other guns, but it's just not the same. I've only owned them for a short while. But yeah, it was, we would go out in the country and you could go shooting, and oh my gosh, could you imagine? People are afraid to even, walk out their front door with their gun to stick it in their car nowadays.
Sean, we live in an era today, whether you're a young driver or my age, when you're driving around, not so much in the daytime, but you worry about, car hijacks and stuff like that in the daytime. But at night, you're all by yourself and you stop and some car pulls up next to you. You're at a stoplight, and it's red, and there is nobody else on the road, and you're afraid to look to the right to see who's next to you, because that might be trouble. And you're thinking to yourself, why am I parked here all by myself at a four-way stop, and not a four-way stop, but a signal, and I'm just sitting here. I have to just go through this thing, because you become a little uncomfortable when somebody pulls up next to you. What kind of world is that?
Yeah, it's a crazy world, and the chances are very likely that the person next to you is probably thinking the same thing.
Sure, yeah.
They're probably going, I don't know who this guy is, but I don't want to look at him. But and it's funny. I catch myself from time to time. I'll pull up to an intersection, even where there are other cars. I won't pull right up to the car behind me, because just in case something weird happens, I want to make sure that I can turn my wheel and drive away and escape, that I don't get stuck between two cars or something.
Absolutely.
So I've learned to use those little tactics. So,
well, I had a good friend of mine who was a police officer, and what he told me was when you're pulling up to the car in front of you, you always want to be able to see the bottom of the back tires. If you can see the bottom of the back tires, then you can get out of there.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what I do. I never really put it in those terms, but that's exactly what I do. I make sure I can see the entire car. Yeah, it's crazy to think that we live in a world that we, have to make those conscious efforts to possibly have an escape route in case something weird happens. But weird things happen.
You were talking about, you and I were talking about what our lives as young people were and compared to what they are today. And one of the things that was rampant at both of Joey's schools, and I forget, I remember when we had grammar school and we had high school. Now they have, they have grade school, preschool, grade school, middle school, high school. I have no damned idea what it is. But one of the biggest problems in schools today, bullies. Isn't that true, Joe? Or a lack of respect for fellow students?
I think it's more of a lack of respect because there are less classic schoolyard bullies anymore. There are a lot of kids who think that they're manipulative and they act that way. And some of them are, but some of them just think that they're, in a movie.
Boy, in a movie, Sean.
And are you allowed to have peanut butter in your school?
Yeah, as long, but there's rules about sharing food at lunch, so there's no more like, I'll trade you this for that. Kids still do it, but the kids ask, do you have any allergies before doing that? So
you can bring peanut butter, but you just can't give it to your friends.
Yeah. At my old school, there used to be a table for kids with allergies. It was a separate table.
Oh, wow. That's going to be but nowadays it seems like that's going to be a pretty big table. Like you're going to need more than just one.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Now, do you guys get, so what are you going to be in? Are you going into 8th or 9th grade this year?
As of August, I'll be in the 8th grade.
So you're going to be starting 8th grade in the fall.
Yes.
Okay. So you're still in, I guess you call it middle school, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you guys get, like when I was it was called junior high, but it's, middle school. Well, we had like an hour for lunch. And I think even one time during the day we had a recess that was a little bit longer in between classes. So we had some time to kind of go run around and play and have a good time. Even in high school. I remember in high school my lunches were an hour long. So do you guys get a 30-minute lunch or an hour lunch? Because I know my son, when he was in high school, which he just graduated 3 years ago, he only got 30 minutes for lunch.
I get around 40 minutes.
40 minutes for lunch.
Yeah.
Okay.
It still feels a little rushed. At lunchtimes, I find myself not even going outside. I sit and I talk to my friends at lunch because I can't do it any other time. But I get my hour of exercise at PE.
Now, do you guys have PE class, physical education class? Do you have that as well?
Yeah, but it's mostly playing games.
What kind of games?
Sometimes there are weird games that kids have made up or the teachers have made up. And sometimes,
are they physical games or are they mental games?
They're physical games. Oh. Sometimes my favorites are a mix of both. And they also have different runs and that type of thing. Traditional PE.
Boy, how times have changed. I remember when I used to walk to school 5 miles uphill every day. Both ways.
Yeah, no kidding. In the snow.
Yeah, in the snow, in the rain, and the sleet.
I actually, this part's actually true. At one point, we lived way out in the country, and I rode on the days when the weather was good, if it wasn't raining or snowing or something like that, or as long as the roads weren't covered with ice. This is when I lived up in Montana, when I was in junior high. When I was in junior high, and I would ride, I had a dirt bike, it was a Yamaha YZ80. I would ride my motorcycle 3 miles down a dirt road, park my motorcycle at a friend's house, and then catch the bus, which was about a 30-minute bus ride into school. And that was my daily commute. And then ride the bus back and get on my motorcycle and ride 3 miles down the dirt road back to the house, and it was crazy. But I can remember even when I was in grade school, that I would walk. We had a bus, but sometimes you didn't feel like taking the bus, and so I would walk, and it was I'd be close to 3 miles to school, and sometimes if I wanted to talk to my friends after school, they only lived a mile away, so they couldn't ride the bus. I would walk with them, and then hang out at their house for a little bit, and then walk the rest of the way home. And we're talking, like 11 years old. Parents would freak out nowadays if the bus showed up and their kids weren't on the bus. They're going, oh my gosh, you can't be 10 and 11 years old and walking 3 miles home. That's just, you're going to get kidnapped and you're going to get cut up into little pieces and,
that's now, not then. Anyway, we have to take a break. What are we going to talk about when we come back? We're going to continue this conversation, or you got something else in store?
Well, we got, this is going to be our last segment, right, when we get back?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and talk about this pregnancy scene, so that way we can move on from it.
All right. We're going to talk about a situation that happened back then and now. We're going to talk about pregnancy. We'll be right back. Don't go away. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Dental Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:22 p.m. Pacific time. It's finally getting cooler. It was 90 degrees. Now it's 89 degrees. Wow, I can't believe it. And if you're listening to us on our syndicated global network and you're in London, England, 86 degrees and mostly cloudy. In Vienna, Austria, 70 degrees and clear. Hey, Sean, what is it in Ohio?
It's 83 degrees.
And is it humid or is it dry? Is it nice?
It's not. It's a little humid. It's not bad. They did have a lot of rain. Oh my gosh! Last night we had a lot of rain, but I woke up. It was 3:00 in the morning, and I am a sound sleeper. It takes a lot to wake me up. Mm-hmm. And I woke up, and the thunder was rolling, and I will tell you, it was probably a continuous sound of thunder for somewhere between at least 10 to 15 minutes.
Holy cow.
I mean, we're not talking like I hear like lightning and then I hear thunder and then like 15 seconds and more. I'm talking like, just like it was like a freight train going by for 10 plus 15 minutes, whatever it was. It was one of the most spectacular lightning shows I have ever seen, and the Midwest is just known for them.
So you were waking out of a sound sleep, and then you were just mesmerized by the beauty of nature's fireworks, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was just unbelievable. It was so amazing. Just how continuous it was. I've seen a lot of really amazing, lightning and thunderstorms, but this one here it just didn't let up for a good 10 to 15 minutes. It just kept going and going and going, and it was raining, and it wasn't super windy or stormy, but it was just heavy rain and just really loud thunder. It's pretty spectacular.
Now, where you're at, do you get flooding?
Yeah, I don't think, I can't say, I shouldn't say I don't think they do here. I don't know for sure, but I don't believe so. I've never heard of anybody talking about flooding in this particular area. I think the elevation here is high enough that they don't deal with it here in this area.
Well, we're going to do something monumental right now. I'm going to give you the microphone and let you talk about a subject you've been trying to talk about for about 2 months.
That's about right. So actually, I say pregnancy, but it actually is. It's actually more centered on actually breastfeeding. I said pregnancy, but I really meant was more breastfeeding.
Okay.
But so there was an article. It is titled "The Unintended Consequences of Invoking the," and in quotations it says, "natural in breastfeeding promotion," using the word natural when you talk about breastfeeding. This occurred in the Journal of Pediatrics in March of this year. And basically what they're saying is that they're trying to persuade people to stop using the word natural when they talk about feeding infants with breastfeeding, because the connotation there, what that is implying is that breastfeeding is better for the child than giving them, a formula. And so they're saying maybe we shouldn't call it natural, because now we're saying that it's better, and we don't want people to believe that the breastfeeding is actually better for your child than giving them formula. And
I'm thinking politically correct is going way too far.
Yeah, it has gone way too far. We are literally to the point now where we are saying, look, you know what? The things that really truly are natural in this world, like breastfeeding, well, we don't want to refer to them as natural. We want to lump them up in the same thing as those things that are not natural, because it really is not natural to take, a soy-based product with sugar and all kinds of other, synthetic vitamins and stick it in a bottle and feed it to a baby. That's not natural. It may be necessary in some cases, but really it's not the natural approach. And so these are literally physicians that are wanting to get rid of the word natural when you talk about breastfeeding. And it just blew my mind. And of course, I started doing some more reading about it, and I found all kinds of crazy stuff that the FDA, no, sorry, not the FDA, the CDC. Of course, we all know how much we can, trust our government and the CDC. But what their recommendation is, in regards to vaccinations, is they're saying that you should delay breastfeeding at the time that a child is getting vaccinations, because breastfeeding a child does so much good for improving the strength of their immune system that it actually reduces the efficacy of the vaccine. Uh-huh. And so they're saying, why don't we put the child in a
wait a minute. Move back again. Would you say that just one more time, because I can't possibly have heard you right.
Yeah, you heard me right. The CDC is saying, look, because you're breastfeeding your child is does such a good job at strengthening the immune system. This is not verbatim, but this is basically what it's saying. They're saying because of the increased strength of the immune system while breastfeeding, the CDC is recommending that you delay or temporarily halt breastfeeding while the child is getting a vaccination, so that the immune system will suppress a little bit, so the vaccine will hold better and do a better job.
God, you know what? I want to say oxymoron, but it's only a moron that would say something like that anyway.
Yeah, it's just straight up moron.
That just makes no sense to me at all.
Yeah, and again, I've always said, if you want to get vaccines, be knowledgeable in what you're doing, understand the risks, understand, the side effects and everything else that goes along with it. If you still want to vaccinate, that's great. But if the CDC is so concerned that the immune system is being strengthened by breastfeeding, why don't they just say, you know what? Why don't you wait until after you're done breastfeeding to give the vaccination? Because most vaccinations that children get at a very young age, they don't need. They don't really need. In my opinion, they don't need them almost ever. Like even measles. Everyone freaks out about measles. Back in the day, you would take your kids and you'd make them go play with the kids who had measles so that we could just get it done and over with. Nobody, in fact, I just read an article about one kid who was unvaccinated who got measles, and the rest of us who don't vaccinate are going, yeah, that's kind of what we expect to happen, is that he might possibly get measles, and oh no, it just strengthened his immune system. Now it's better. He has a natural immunity to it. And as long as the kid's, not immune compromised, it's going to go through just fine. Everything's going to be wonderful. But, they're promoting it. And they're saying, this child who is unvaccinated has this deadly disease, and, now we're afraid that he's going to spread it to everyone else. And I'm thinking, what do you mean for the kids that are vaccinated, that are supposed to be protected? And it's really an interesting dynamic that, like I say, if you want to vaccinate, that's great. I'm not a hater that's going to go, you're a horrible person for vaccinating your child. But for the CDC to come out and say, you know what, stop breastfeeding, stop doing something that is the most natural thing that every species on the face of the planet does. Stop doing that so that the drugs, the chemicals, the toxins, the virus that we want to intentionally submit your child to will work better. And it's an unbelievable system to me that we have gotten to the point where, and I saw someone posted a video, it was about a week ago, of a woman who was in a Target, I think in Connecticut, and some guy was yelling at her because he said she was being disgusting because she was in the food court area breastfeeding her child. And it was just, it was just unbelievable to think that there are people who still think that breastfeeding in a public area is a disgusting act, when every single mammal on the face of the planet, their first meal they ever get is from their mom,
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, I have a hard time wrapping my mind around what goes through the mind of a person who says something like, don't call breastfeeding natural, because then we're going to make the people who use, formula feel bad and make them think that it's not as healthy, which in fact it is not as healthy. It's a fact, and then go, well, stop breastfeeding your kids so the immunizations. Other than, wanting to just promote pure profits from things like, formula and vaccines and drugs and whatever else, I can't think of one other solid reason why anyone would say those types of things.
I don't think there is any other reason, and there's certainly no logical reason for it.
Yeah, there's no logical reason at all. It's not, it's not looking out for the best interest of the child. But breastfeeding is the healthiest thing that you can do for your child, unless the mom's got some sort of an illness or something wrong, if she's got, if she's HIV positive or something else, you don't breastfeed your child. I get it. And I'm sure there are other types of, health concerns that of a woman has. Yeah, you can't breastfeed, and I get that. But for the average healthy person, breastfeeding is the best thing. My son was breastfed for a year and a half, and he literally never got an ear infection. He's never had one single ear infection his entire life. He's, other than when we lived in Kansas, which was, surrounded by farmland that was sprayed with glyphosate, and he got asthma from it. He's never had a single health condition ever, of anything. And I personally attribute a lot of that to the fact that he was breastfed for as long as he was, because it is I've tried to research this a little bit more, and I haven't found any really good scholarly articles. I've seen a little bit here, a little bit there, and I don't know if it just hasn't been studied enough, but what they've actually found is that there are receptors in the mammary glands of a woman's breasts around the nipple that actually bind to, or actually bring in the saliva of the child, and those mammary glands have receptors in them that can tell if the child is getting a bacterial infection or a viral infection, or has some sort of a cold coming on, or some sort of something going on with the child that the child needs extra protection, and it will actually chemically alter the makeup of the mom's breast milk.
That's amazing.
And they've been able to pump it. Yeah, it's incredibly amazing. The human body is, every time I read stuff about the human body, I just go, wow, I don't think we'll ever fully understand how amazing the human body is. But yeah, the mom's breast milk is actually able to tweak itself to give the baby exactly what it needs. It is a healthy form of genetically engineered food for the baby. It's genetically engineered the way Mother Nature intended it to be genetically engineered and altered for the baby.
You mean it's the natural way?
Yeah, it's a natural engineering. Yeah, exactly. It is naturally genetically engineered. And stuff like that, I just read that and I go, wow. How someone could ever come across that information and just not think to themselves how amazing, the human body is, and the power of living according to our natural order. And I know that when you say the natural order, when you're talking to, a lot of people on the left side of the agendas, they freak out and they think you're being a hater now because, you're saying that we're not natural. Well, if you're giving your kid a soy-based formula, no, that's not natural, because first of all, it's soy. Yeah. Second of all, it's not coming from mom. Even cow's milk is not natural. I mean, a lot of people drink it. I don't think that they're horrible people for it. I know you drink milk.
I love milk.
Yeah, I know you do. Trust me, oh my gosh, I love milk. I was at the farmer's market one time, and they had raw milk from there's a different form of there's the alpha casein and beta casein, and it's the alpha casein I think is the one you want. The beta casein is the one we have a hard time digesting. But I got a pint of this raw cow's milk, and it was whole milk, and it was so delicious.
Oh yeah,
just walked around drinking that, and I when you can get raw milk, to me, I think it's fantastic. Is it natural? No, it's not natural. Well, of course I eat cheese, Yeah. I do a lot of things that come from cow's milk, or I love goat's milk, and, I love, like Manchego cheese, which is made from lamb's, or from sheep's milk, I mean. Mm-hmm. And, and of course that is really, by definition, not natural, because humans are the only species on the face of the planet that drink milk from another species, and also drink milk past the infancy stage. All other mammals, once they reach a certain age, they stop drinking milk forever, especially not from their own species, unless it's something weird, like, we have a dog that's raising, someone puts cats in with it, but in the natural world, that just doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
What are these glands? What are these glands called?
What's that?
What are the glands called that detect Excuse me?
You're kind of echoing a little bit. I had a hard time hearing you.
He's asking you that around the nipple there are special glands that detect the lack of nutrients in the infant, and he's wondering what those glands were called.
I don't know. They just called it. I just referred to them as the mammary glands. I can look it up.
I tell you what, that's all I've ever heard it referred to as.
Yeah, and they may have a specific name for them, beyond mammary glands, and maybe, special kinds of receptors or whatever, but even the articles that I was reading just referred to them as the mammary glands, and that they had receptors, and they were able to, detect what's going on with the baby. And that's that to me is so amazing, all these, in fact,
no, you don't get to go any farther, because I'll tell you what else is amazing. We're out of town. We're out of time.
It always happens that way.
So listen, when are you coming home?
I don't know. I've got, I'm going to be back in Kansas all next week, and then the week after that, I will actually be back in California. But I've got a doctor that I'm talking with right now, and she wants me to come back to Kansas for the summer and help her build her practice. And I may actually be in Kansas over the summer. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not.
Well, you know, that'd be a great experience for you. I think you ought to do it.
Oh, I think it'd be fantastic. Oh, she's a wonderful person. I think she's got a great practice, and I think that her and I could do something amazing out there, and I think it would be a lot of fun. So that may happen, and I'll keep you posted, but it won't affect the radio show. I can tell you that much.
Oh, that's fantastic. Listen, please give our best wishes to your mom. Tell her that she's in our prayers. You stay safe, stay happy, keep everybody else around you happy. And from Joey and me, you know what? It's been a great hour with you. It always is.
It's been fantastic, Robert. I enjoyed it. And Joey, man, it was awesome having you on. Come back anytime, man.
Thank you. It was great talking to you, too.
All right, buddy. Take care. And
good night, guys.
All righty. Now, for the rest of you folks that are sitting out there, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to be doing the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. And then after that, boy, have I got a surprise for you. My grandson, Joey, is going to do a critics corner about Nielsen ratings and God only knows what else. But when he comes back, you're not going to want to miss that. But right away, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll do the birthdays and the daily tips. So don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:42 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 89 degrees on its way down to 63 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And if you're listening to us on our syndicated global network and you're in Madrid, Spain, it's 77 degrees and clear. In Tokyo, Japan, it is 75 degrees, and we don't know if it's clear, cloudy, rainy, what's going on. It's just not telling us. But right now, it is time for our Harvard Business Tip of the Day. And the management tip today is use data to tell better stories in your content marketing. Well, you know what? Content marketers need to be good storytellers with data. A few best practices can help you. First, develop the story that you want to tell by imaging the outcome that you want. Center your research on that goal. Let your marketing bias shape your research, but make sure you are accurately reflecting your data set. Look for interesting patterns and find an angle that will be surprising to readers. Once you know your story, select the right format to tell it. White papers, infographics, blog posts, and simple graphics are effective. Before presenting your analysis, articulate your key message and highlight one or two surprising, memorable numbers. Strike a balance between text and visuals and use human examples to translate numbers into relatable stories. Finally, conclude your analysis with recommendations or insights to clarify the relevance of your research to your readers. And that's the way it should be done. You know what? Would I lead you wrong? Of course not. And it is time for our secret daily teachings for your life. This is all about a positive mental attitude. You hear me talk about it all the time. I describe it the same way. You're in total control of what you do, what you say. You're in total control of whether you're a success or a failure, rich or poor, happy or sad. It's all up to you. It's all about a positive mental attitude. You control it. Nobody else does. Now, the secret for today comes from Charles Hanel. He was born in 1866. He passed away in 1949. He says, the principle which gives the thought the dynamic power to correlate with its object and therefore to master every adverse human experience is the law of attraction, which is another name for love. This is an eternal and fundamental principle inherent in all things, in every system of philosophy, in every religion, and in every science. There is no getting away from the law of love. It is feeling that imparts vitality to thought. Feeling is desire, and desire is love. Thought impregnated with love becomes invincible. Yeah, give that some thought. And that's for real. Now, you all know what you all like. You know what? We all know what today is. Today is Thursday, June the 23rd, and yep, it is somebody's birthday. And you know what? We've got some great birthdays for you today. First off, a person born in 1940, passed away in 1994, an African-American athlete who became the first American woman to win 3 gold medals in track and field during a single Olympic Games, despite running on a sprained ankle at the time. Happy birthday, Wilma Rudolph. And here's one born 1972, an American actress with roles in feature films such as Legally Blonde, The Sweetest Thing, and Hellboy. Happy birthday, Selma Blair. Well, what do you suppose happened today in history? You don't have to suppose. I'm going to tell you. On June 23rd, 1868, Christopher Latham Sholes receives a patent for the typewriter. Yeah. In 1888, Frederick Douglass is the first African-American nominated for U.S. president. In 1972, Watergate scandal, U.S. President Richard M. Nixon and White House Chiefs of Staff H.R. Haldeman are taped talking about using the Central Intelligence Agency to obstruct the Federal Bureau of Investigation's investigation into the Watergate break-ins. Yep, boy, that was the beginning of the end. Well, our quote for today comes from Buzz Aldrin. We all know who he was. He says, I believe that every human has a finite number of heartbeats. I don't intend to waste any of mine running around doing exercises. How do you feel about that, Joe? Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it sure does. Well, it's time for us to talk about those interesting but useless facts. Did you know that Finland has the largest number of islands in the world? Over 179,550. Can you imagine? That's a lot. I had no idea. I've been there, and I didn't know that. How about this? Did you know a canary bird that cannot sing will never find a mate? Lonely, huh? You know that Tom Wolfe was paid $5 million for the film rights to his novel, Bonfire of the Vanities, the most ever earned by an author. Boy, isn't that something? And Lucy Ricardo's maiden name was McGillicuddy. That's Lucille Ball, in case you didn't know. And did you know that a recent study indicates when men crave food, they tend to crave fat and salt. When women crave food, they tend to desire chocolate. Chocolate. Huh? Chocolate. And let me give you this one. This will be our last one. It's in West Virginia. You cannot fly a red flag in front of your house if you are disappointed in your sheriff. There are just some strange laws still on the books, Joey. Anyway, talking about Joey, when we come back from this very short break, my grandson Joey is going to give us some information on the Critics Corner. Joey, what are you going to tell us about?
Well, I'm going to first give the Nielsen's top-rated programs for the 13th to the 19th of June, and then we're going to review The Conjuring 2, a new horror film out in theaters now.
All right, we'll be right back with Joey in the Critics Corner right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? It's time for the Critics Corner with my grandson, Joey. Hey, Joe, let's get right to it.
Okay, so we're going to start with the top 20 of the top-rated programs for June 13th through 19th. The first 4 go to the NBA Finals coverage. The 5th is America's Got Talent, which airs on Tuesday on NBC with a total of 11.54 million viewers. The 6th spot goes to Game of Thrones, which airs on Sunday on HBO with a total of 7.66 million viewers. The 7th place goes to The Big Bang Theory, which airs on CBS with a total of 6.19 million viewers. The 8th spot goes to NCIS, which airs on CBS with a total of 6.88 million viewers. The 9th spot goes to American Ninja Warrior, which airs on ABC with a total of 6.84 million viewers. And the 10th place goes to NCIS New Orleans, which airs on CBS with a total of 6.725 million viewers. The 11th... 726. I apologize. The 11th spot goes to 60 Minutes on CBS. The 12th spot goes to the NBA Countdown for Game 6 on ABC. The 13th goes to Person of Interest on CBS. The 14th goes to the NBA Countdown for Game 7 on ABC. The 15th goes to Blue Bloods on CBS. The 16th goes to the NBA Countdown for Game 5 on ABC. The 17th spot goes to the Copa American Soccer Mexico versus Chile, which airs on Univision. The 18th spot goes to Tell the Truth, which airs Tuesdays at 10 p.m. on ABC. And the 19th spot goes to another airing of To Tell the Truth, but this time on Tuesday at 8 p.m. on ABC. And the 20th spot goes to Hawaii Five-0, which airs on CBS with a total of 5.19 million viewers.
That's lots of people.
Lots of people.
That's lots of people. So you're going to do a review for us of The Conjuring 2, right?
Yes.
So first of all, I need to know. First, I know you went with your dad.
Yeah.
And because your granddad was too scary to go to that kind of a movie. And I need to keep my little ticker ticking. And so the big thing is that was it worth all the anticipation? Did it live up to all the anticipation that you had for it?
Yes, and more.
Then let's do it.
Well, first I'd like to start out by saying, in my personal opinion, I believe it's the best horror movie since The Exorcist.
Wow.
Which is a big statement. First, I'll give you a synopsis a little bit. It is allegedly based on a true story. It's the story of Janet Hodgson and her family, who really exist. Their suburban house in Enfield, England, was being disturbed supposedly by the spirit of a man named Bill Wilkins, who had died in the house previously. After many experiences, they called the police, who supposedly witnessed a chair move. The police filed a report, which attracted media attention. So they got a television crew to come in and talk to Janet and her family. During the television interview, Janet was allegedly used as a mouthpiece by the ghost of Bill Wilkins. The recording was sent to Ed and Lorraine Warren, real demonologists and paranormal investigators based out of New England. Lorraine Warren is still alive and still operating that company.
Wow.
You can actually go to her basement, which is a museum with different artifacts from the different homes that she's investigated. They spent nights in the house and documented one of the most terrifying and most documented cases in paranormal history. And at the end of the movie, when the credits are rolling, they play real audio from that television interview where you can hear the distorted voice that the girl...
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was really frightening. They kept the lights off in the theater, and everybody was just sitting there.
So was it totally dark when they played this?
It was totally dark, and they were flashing real pictures of the family and the different stuff that was going on as you were listening to this girl, and on the bottom it said real audio footage.
Wow.
So, ratings, I'm going to do four different number sections: cinematography, story, acting, and the overall.
And the ratings are 1 to 5 or 1 to 10? What?
1 to 10.
10 being best or worst?
10 being best, 1 being worst.
Okay.
Cinematography, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. It felt clean. It had a lot of different tactics that really made weren't jump scary, but scared you. Like, you knew that it was going to happen, but it still happened. There's a great scene in their basement, which, because of a laundry incident, is flooded with water. And that was one of the great scenes in the movie. And it was even more interesting how they actually did it. And that's a perfect example of director James Wan's cinematography and how they worked it all out.
And you told me that a lot of the scariness of this movie wasn't what they actually showed you, it's what you thought was happening, right?
It was very much a psychological movie, even though the ghosts are not invisible creatures in this thing. I mean, the door will open by itself, classic horror cliches, but the ghost of Bill Wilkins is shown face, clothes, everything in this movie. There's also another ghost that's introduced in the first scene, which actually takes place in the Amityville house.
Oh, right.
And that ghost is introduced in the first scene, and that's a reoccurring theme. There was also no violence, nothing. It was actually only rated R because of the scare factor. It was a horror movie, and they determined it too scary for children.
Yeah.
Acting, 10 out of 10. It was convincing. I felt like these were real characters. There's a great... I'd say that it's really a love story.
Really?
Yeah. There was the love story between paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. And it was really interesting to watch their chemistry on screen and how they really did seem to care about each other. Lorraine is a clairvoyant, supposedly, and there in the trailer she says, I've had a premonition of your death. So that's a reoccurring theme, and the premonition is in the first scene of the movie, and she's constantly telling him, don't do this anymore or else this thing is going to kill you. Overall, I give it a 10 out of 10. It was a great movie. I could watch it again and again and again, and it would never be less scary.
Why? Because wouldn't you anticipate, because you've already seen it, or even though it was that way, there's a lot of things that you missed that you would pick up that you didn't catch the nuance of?
I think that possibly, yes, but I think that the way it was directed, the cinematography, the acting, the music in this movie was phenomenal. The use of trumpets and violins, and just like in the first one, which was... I think this one is actually better than the first one. I'd give the first one a 9 out of 10 just for cliched acting. This one was a 10 out of 10, but the music was equally as good, and it just haunts you from the first opening where it's just playing the Warner Brothers logo. It was scary from the second they showed the Warner Brothers logo. And they're playing these trumpet sounds. I'm all like, oh God, what did I get myself into?
And you've gone to a lot of horror movies, and this is the one you say is number one.
I love horror movies. I watch them all the time. I watch them on Netflix. I watch them in the theaters. I love the supernatural horror movies. I love Insidious, which is another James Wan film, the same director of this movie. Insidious does not keep me up at night, but The Conjuring keeps me up at night. It's the one movie that actually does scare me.
Wow.
And it's an amazing film, and that's why I was so excited to go see this one. I was really anticipating this one from the second they released the trailer.
So who handled it better, your dad or you?
I'd say my dad handled it better.
Did he?
Yeah, but he's not exactly a huge horror movie fan. But it was one heck of a movie. I felt there are scenes where you feel claustrophobic. There are scenes where there's real emotion. There's a great scene where the neighbors, they're donating crosses to the mom of the house. And so they hang up all of the crosses, and the scene's in the trailer, in the room where it's all happening the most, which is the girls' room. And she's trapped, the main character, Janet, who's 12, is trapped in the room because she ties herself to her bed because she's sleepwalking, supposedly, but not really. And she's sitting there and she sees one of the crosses start to tremble, and then the cross turns upside down, and then all the other crosses start to turn upside down. And that was just a supremely creepy scene.
Well, Joe, it's time for us to move on to another, getting ready to close the show. You're going to be with us tomorrow too, right?
Yeah. On a final word,
Yeah.
If you're a horror movie fan, you need to see this movie and see it in theaters and see it fast because it's almost out. This is a theater movie.
Oh, listen, you're not going to get a better recommendation than that, you guys, so don't ignore it. That was my grandson Joey, my genius grandson Joey. And you know what? If you enjoyed listening to Joey, you just, tune in again tomorrow, all of you, because he's going to be on the show again tomorrow. In the meantime, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. So don't go away. This is a great story for you.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And it is that time. It's time for the tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey. And the rest of the story, the biggest and best voice in America, reveals the startling heartbeats behind the headlines. You know, Paul Harvey, one of America's favorite radio and TV commentators, heard over 775 ABC radio stations and over 400 foreign stations, seen on 110 television stations, read in 300 newspapers, recipient of numerous awards and honors, including 9 honorary degrees. He's on the Gallup polls list of America's most admired men. Well, all of these stories come directly from Paul Harvey, and we just repeat them here for your edification and your enjoyment. The story for today, the bully and the boy. Now, we start in Bavaria, 1934. It was the wrong time and the wrong place to be a Jew. And Heinz was a Jew. The little Bavarian village of Fürth was already overrun with Hitler's young thugs. To be a Jew of any age was to be a target. And Heinz was only 11. It was the first minute of a black hour in European history. Some fled before the clock ran out. For many, time stood forever still. But Heinz was one of the lucky ones, and he would take with him from that place a creeping horror, an indelible lesson with which one day he would make the whole world less dark. Tradition, the song goes, Heinz's father was a school teacher, as had been his father before him. Tradition. The precepts of Judaism were carefully handed down from one generation to the next, and Heinz learned them well. The observance of the Sabbath, of Rosh Hashanah, of Yom Kippur. But for Heinz's parents, those ancient traditions had gained a new importance. They were a means of teaching their children self-control at a time when sudden impulse could be dangerous. In the beginning, it was difficult. Heinz started out in a cozy, close-knit little world. He vastly preferred soccer to school. A happy, often mischievous child, there were always tricks to play, pigtails to pull. He was an undistinguished student, expounding at great length and with great flourish only when he knew the answers. But Heinz didn't always know the answers. Then that black hour descended, as it always does, 1 second at a time. Heinz's father was dismissed from his teaching post. There were fewer and fewer soccer games. Heinz was expelled, forced to attend an all-Jewish school. Slowly, the playful, exuberant boy became more cautious. Slowly, the streets became a battleground. Hitler Youth roamed everywhere, but Heinz remembered what he'd been taught. There was no such thing as a sudden impulse. When a gang of bullies approached him on the street, he'd cross to the other side. When he could, sometimes a beating was unavoidable. Sometimes it was not. Whatever the case, he must not pick a fight, and he must not speak up. One day, the silence was broken. One day, in 1934, 11-year-old Heinz was forced into one of those inevitable confrontations with a Hitler bully. But this time, for the first time, he started talking. Perhaps it was about anything and everything. And perhaps Heinz himself didn't remember how he talked his way out of it. But he did talk his way out of it, and that was important. Today, Heinz recalls his childhood in Bavaria. I was not acutely aware of what was going on. For children, these things are not serious. The political persecutions of my childhood are not what controlled my life. That part of my childhood was not a key to anything. Maybe. Or maybe the boy who talked his way out of a beating learned something that would one day be valuable to all of us. Gratefully, Heinz and his family escaped Bavaria in time, made their way to America. Even there, he would cross the street whenever a group of boys walked his way. He'd been preconditioned to expect violence, I suppose, but he never forgot how to talk. And if indeed the pen is mightier than the sword, for Heinz the spoken word is most powerful of all. You see, he Americanized that Bavarian name when he arrived in New York. And Heinz, who had negotiated that first peace settlement for himself, ultimately devoted his life toward a more peaceful world. Henry Alfred Kissinger. And now you know the rest of the story. Well, isn't that some story? You know who Kissinger is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
amazing story, isn't it? Yeah, I just love these stories. And we've got so many of them, so many great ones going on. You know, tomorrow's story is going to be a great story, too. We're going to be talking about Lord Cornbury's hobby. I'm not going to tell you any more about it, but that's what we're going to do. You'll enjoy the story. These stories are just phenomenal. I just love listening to them. Now, I want everybody to know that on my next show, the show tomorrow, Jon Matthews, Joe Hakos, Joey, and me, we're going to be talking conservative politics. David Garrett and I will be talking about current events and the law. And then I'm going to continue our tribute, as I mentioned, to the late, great Paul Harvey with his rest of the story. And, you know, we hope that you'll tell all of your friends about the show here on our broadcasting network. And you know what? Don't forget to get our app. It's absolutely free. If you have a Windows product, or an Android product, you can go to, GooglePlay.com and just search Robert Cardoza Live. It's absolutely free. Download it there. If you have an Apple product, just go to the Apple Store. Search Robert Cardoza Live. It's going to be right there. And again, it's absolutely free. Best way to listen to our show, no matter where you are, worldwide. And if we're broadcasting live like we are now, you can actually chat with us at the same time we're doing the show. Otherwise, you can just pick and choose the shows you want to listen to at your own leisure and go back and listen to some of our previous shows. The explanation of what those shows are under the information mark, you just tap on it. It'll tell you what that particular show is actually all about.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.